What is up, guys? It's Whatever here with our EWT draft analysis for Season 3. That's right, we got asked back for Season 3, and boy, is it going to be a fun one. Just because of this draft in general, and a lot of the people are super chill. Like, we've got people, big names like, Grandmaster D-Ray, Automathic, of course, because it's his league. Then we got like Frosted and Under the Radar, 6 Foot Hacks, a bunch of cool new people too who are like super nice. Definitely gonna be a fun season. The main thing that I want to make sure is this draft is insane. I love it. I love it a lot. Really, I don't know if it fits my playstyle because I've only played one game and it was like 10 minutes ago. So like I just stopped that and then I realized it was draft analysis day, so I gotta upload. So we are doing this stuff now because I procrastinated, and I won't be doing that for my week one though, because that's already recorded and everything. So, what we have is we got 10th pick, and that was I think out of 16, so 10th out of 16. So like basically all the cool, really good stuff is gonna be gone. Like the Muse, Dragapult. They unbanned Tapu Lele and Galardarm. So I was hoping that Lele would fall to me. Like that was my hope because I thought people would take Coco over Lele. The Garchomps, Landos of the world. But turns out we got, as you can see on screen, Mr. Tornadus, and that's gonna be our first pick. Mr. Torn T, definitely one of my favorite mons. He just fucking has great coverage, regen. This gen with boots and nasty plot, it can be a setup sweeper, and it can also pivot out until it needs to do so. So like this is one of the only mons where I think that U-turn plus nasty plot is a pretty good set, just because of the fact that it can just force so many switch-ins, get on out of there, and just immediately can set up to break once everything is, chipped down enough. So, definitely did not think I was going to get this at 10th pick. I was like, there's no way that this lasts me at 10. But it did. I think Torn T is probably one of the top 3 in the format right now. It just does so much. Defog, as we talked about, all the momentum. It's just phenomenal. Absolutely great pick. And since we had 10th pick, we kind of had like almost a wheel. Nah, I wouldn't even say like almost a wheel. We were like smack dab in the middle, but we got one that was kind of closer than the other. And what we ended up getting with the second pick was something that I wanted to use for a while since we banned its other form, and that's Urshifu Rapid Strike. Now, we banned Single Strike because, people are afraid of Single Strike's power, which, granted, it's a great mon. If it was allowed, I think it would probably be in the top 3 as well. If, gosh, that's a hard top 3. I think Torn T would drop down to number 4 if Urshifu Single is allowed. So, but yeah, we got the Rapid Strike, and that is the 3 hits critical Surging Strikes as his signature move. But here's the thing: what switches in on Urshifu? Grass types, water types, even like bulky fairies, and Torn T can hit all those at least neutrally and grass type super effectively. Did my mic go down? I don't know. Anyway, hopefully this still works. But my mic just turned off for some reason. But yeah, Urshifu, it's going to be our second pick. At this point, I do remember, I think like something like, there's some disgusting pair that was still left. I was, originally my first pick, I was going to pick, either Torn T or Celesteela actually dropped too. And that ended all the way up until the second round, like pick or 2 before me. And then Zygarde got picked up right before me as well. And Zygarde was also on the list because it was just too much value to kind of like leave it there, But yeah, so that's our second pick. Third pick we got is Zarud. Now Zarud is a mon that I really wanted to use, and I felt that it was criminally underpriced at 12. I thought this was going to be a 15-point mon. I thought it was going to be like this is. I think Zarud is a tier 2 Pokemon, and what it was priced at was some very clear tier 3s. I think the Nidos were right around the same, or like a little bit more. Crocodile a little bit more, and those are like those tier 2, tier 3, like like in the middle mons. And so I was like, you know what? I wanted to use it. Good speed tier. It's a dark type. It's a grass type. And I just really wanted to use it. It also helps the momentum core that we got going because we had 3 momentum users in our first 3 picks. It's really going to be helping us kind of chip down things and then break with one of our 2 breakers because we got Urshifu for physical and then Torn T with our special, but it could also go in physical too. So can't ever count it out. But yeah, so we got Zarud. Basically, this thing is going to be either offensive, maybe assault vest, kind of like just a switch in for some things. Like it's going to be pretty much our grass type. We only drafted 1 grass type, but we did want to start kind of budgeting. Because we didn't have a whole lot of points. As you can see, I think, how much did we start with? 70, 80, 90, 110. I think it was like, we were like blowing through almost half our points already. And that was a lot to go by. So, at this point, it's coming back to me pretty quickly. And I was like, okay, I need to settle up getting some hazards and some sort of just, defensive almost Pokemon. So at this point, we had a few steel types that went right before this. We had like Skarmory, Kartana, but like Kartana's Kartana. You don't really count that. Registeel went around the same time. Ferrothorn, Cobalion, even Magneton went this early, round 4, which I think is crazy. But really, I think I got a really good one in Megros. Now Megros, Steel Psychic, one of the best shinies in the game, hands down. It's got rocks, it's got coverage, it hits hard. It's got agility sets, it could run weakness policy. I think it's just something a really overall good Pokemon that I like using a lot. Now, it's also got priority, which helps, because we only have, I think, priority in Aqua Jet. But yeah, it really helps the team kind of be a defensive backbone and kind of take those physical hits. Let's see, that's pretty much it. Like it was just a really good pairing because like what doesn't Zarud like taking? It's like bug type hits, and even though this is neutral, it's still gonna eat those bug type hits. Let's see. Alright, let's just go ahead to the next one. The next one was actually very interesting because I did not have it like at all in mind until right around the pick came up, and that is Nidoking, the mascot pick. The greatest. I wanted another rocker. This definitely is another rocker. I wanted a ground type because of my electric weakness right now. We have Zarud that resists, and then I wanted an immunity. And we went Nidoking. Nidoking was already off the board. I would have grabbed that because I would have rather had a defensive ground type. But Nidoking works just as well. I love Nidoking. Obviously, it's my mascot based on the Kings. So, I thought it was really, really cool. Hits hard like a truck. Now, this is going to be our special breaker. Torn T can be a cleaner. It could be a breaker if it wants to. It could be a setup sweeper. This is our just flat-out breaker. And that is what I mainly drafted it for, so that Torn T could be more things than just be our special, attacker. And yeah, so that's pretty much why I drafted it. Poison type absorbs T-Spikes. And yeah, I think it gets T-Spikes for itself. I'm not 100% sure. I have no way. But yeah. Next, we got Druddigon. Now, Leo actually showed me the power of Druddigon by, having it live like a few of my attacks in what was it, APA? Yeah, APA Academy this last season. Thing is bulky, okay? Rough skin, really good ability. Rocky helmet on top of that, you are taking chip. It is a lot of chip if you are taking that hit. It's got glare, it's got sucker punch, it's got pretty good offenses too with sheer force. You can run like some of the punches, and gunk shot is a really good one because those fairies trying to switch in. It's just I figured it was something that I needed. I wanted a more defensive dragon, and it was either this or Drampa in my opinion. And I had an idea for a normal type later on, so I wanted to just go with Druddigon, and I thought that was going to be pretty good. And also I kind of wanted to have more defensive backbone for my team. Next up, though, I think this is the part where I saw how many points I had remaining. 29 points for 5 Mons. And I was like, sorry, it's getting late. But I was like, really? This is the part where I usually tend to dip down early to guarantee that I get the Pokemon that I want from my low tier. And I know there was a lot of good fairies still up on the board, but none for really the price point that I wanted, so they can have, some other Mons later on. So what I did is I dipped down. I got Clefairy. Clefairy, it's a fairy. It's baby Clefable. It's not as good as Clefable. It's about 4 points good. I needed something that switches into dragon types. I think this thing can. It's got Encore. It's got Wish support. It's got Moonlight or Moonblast. It could be support. It can have T-Wave. It has rocks even. This is our 4th rocker in a row because we love those hazards. Meanwhile, we only have one Defogger in Torn, but let's not talk about that. We also get boots, so nothing is too scared of any rocks or hazards, and we have a poison or T-Spikes absorber. But yeah, so that's exactly what I wanted. Then I think at this point I was like, okay, looking at my defensive Mons, none of them really like taking any chip because none of them have any leg recovery. The only one that does is really Zarud or Torn T with regen if I want to go defensive route. Clefairy obviously does, but it's a Clefairy. It's still going to get knocked, etc., etc. What I ended up going with was Licky. Now my friend Owen, OG Albina, loves this Mon, and he always tells me to draft it, and I didn't do so well with it, but that was more of the team itself around it didn't do so good, but we're trying it again here, and this thing is going to be our Wish support. It's going to be our fat normal type, so we don't lose to ghosts, and because Zarud's a good ghost resist, but it's also not something you want to take hits. But yeah, this is going to be our fat bulky normal. Gonna wish off and go ahead and just throw to teams around or teammates around. As you can see, we are now pretty good with points with 19 for 3. But I did a little sneaky and I dropped down again to make sure I got these 2 Pokemon that one Pokemon that I really wanted. Another Pokemon was more team support, and that was Kathita. Now, the reason I got Kathita was I was looking at my team, and I really liked the amount of knock support that I had for any Rocky helmets for Urshifu, because going up against an Urshifu, I figure everybody's going to want to have a Rocky helmet Mon, so they can get that triple chip off on Surging Strikes. Now, what I want to do is I want to trap it and possibly get that out of the way. Let's say a bulky water. I can trap it and basically kill it. That's what I'm going for here with Kathita, and that's pretty much all it's here for. Is to trap something, trap a check, get it out of the way. Now, they priced it at 3 points. I think it should have been a little bit higher, around like 5 or 6 maybe. So that's something that I wanted to look for, specifically because Urshifu has such, like, blatant counters, like a slow grow. Definitely going to be an Urshifu check. So that I could definitely switch in this and then take advantage of that. But yeah, that's the reason I got Kathita here. And then the next one I got was Doppler. And Doppler is, in my opinion, probably the best web setter in 1 point, just because of body press, being able to actually hit super hard, and because it's got pretty good defense stat. And that's pretty much it. That's webs. I wanted webs for Urshifu to be fast. Nidoking under webs, that's really good. Megros even under webs. All of my Pokemon enjoy webs, but they don't necessarily need it. And so this is for those matchups where I want to bring webs, if I want to, just want to have the option. And now you might be wondering to yourself, now Ant, you literally just spent 4 points. That's it. You have 15 remaining. Well, that's because I was looking for something that was a little bit higher up again. And I can't believe that this one dropped. And it was probably the steal of the draft, in my opinion. Round 11, And that is Rotom Heat. Now, I do have a point remaining. And that's because I didn't like anything in 2 points that I would rather have over webs. I really wanted the Kathita. There's nothing in like any point where I could upgrade something to where I would enjoy it better. So I just left it with 1 point and I got Rotom Heat. Now, Rotom Heat synergizes phenomenally with Torrenti. Like, that is OU right there, Rotom Heat, Torrenti, and then Nidoking is just really offensive and helps as well. But literally, this thing is here to help defog, run boots, will-o-wisp some things, volt switch out on things. Overheat is super strong, and that is going to be, a big problem for a lot of people. Just to kind of switch into its dual stab, because ground types usually don't take overheat too well. But yeah, it's not as good as Rotom Wash, but it's definitely gotten closer with boots, because that used to be one of its main things, was the hazards just kind of hurt it too much. But yeah, good defensive typing. I like it, and I think it really rounds out the team. Really, our team is basically 10 Pokemon and Doppler, but I'm totally fine with that in a draft where there's, only had so many points, etc. But yeah, that's going to be the team fully. Mainly going to be those top 3 coming every week, and then the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next 6 definitely going to be in contention every single week. Doppler's going to be matchup only, really, and then Rotom Heat's going to be very splashable, so it's going to be included probably in those 6, the rest of those 6, as definitely could come every single week. But yeah, like, people thought, when at least watching the draft analysis, or the draft, people were like, oh, it's super offensive team. Just because all these Pokemon have high attacking stats doesn't mean that they're going to be offensive. Like, Megros, it's got a high attacking stat, but it's definitely not going to be offensive every week. Same thing with Nidoking. Even Urshifu can be like a bulk up set. And Zarud as well, Torrenti can be just a counter to almost anything, because you could build it to beat that. Dredagon as well. Like, a lot of these Pokemon are versatile, and that's what I really liked and what I really wanted. So that's actually going to be it for our draft recap. We are going to have our week 1 up in a little bit, probably the next week, I think. And that was a really good match. Now, I literally just got done playing it. A really good match, and let's go ahead and get this season started. Peace.